seems to be universal across the board, and I can say this in my own life and with every client and student I've ever worked with, is you must make time with yourself a priority. You must. You must. You absolutely 1,000% must. I'm Jessica Amos, helping you learn to stay with yourself. Hi, welcome to day 4 of this Soul Thriving mini course. My name is Jessica Amos, and I am so happy to be here with you today. Soul happy to be here with you today. Today, I want to talk about a little bit of what we talked about in the last lesson, which is care but don't carry. And this next part of what does it look like to care for yourself? What's it look like to put yourself back at the center of your own life, or just put yourself at the center of your own life if you haven't already? So when it comes to a soul thriving life, if you really want a soul thriving life, you must be able to live at the center of your own life. I think of many of my favorite clients that I've worked with, one in particular who came to me, her husband was really, really sick. He got very sick and it was sudden and surprising, and he was on death's door. Like, they really thought that he was going to die. And she went from just being in this partnership of, being in a 30, 40-year marriage to suddenly being thrust into the role of caretaker, to suddenly being faced with almost being a widow. And he happened to just come through it. And it was like a miracle that he didn't die. And they were kind of touch and go and on and off and stop and start with like getting him back to living a vibrant life again. And she came to me because she was like, Jessica, I lost my joy somewhere in there. Like, I just went straight into survival, and I'm used to myself being a joyful person. And I've been through stuff before, but this just really took the wind out of her. And she came to me because she just needed support getting back in touch with her joy. And I've had other people who've come to me who are like, hey, I've been caring and being, I've been being everything that I've needed to be. I've been the good boy. I've been the good girl. I've achieved all the things. We talked about the achievement part, right? I've done everything I was supposed to do, but I'm exhausted and I'm tired and I feel disconnected from myself. I feel disconnected from myself, or I'm still carrying this burden from the past of my childhood or how I was raised or the death of a parent or any number of things. And I'm having a hard time feeling connected to myself. So this piece of self-connection, of how to care for yourself in a way that you are connected with self. So just as we talked about spiritual connection at the beginning, it's now time to talk about self-connection. What does self-connection look like? And that's different for each of us. But I will say one of the number one things that seems to be universal across the board, and I can say this in my own life and with every client and student I've ever worked with, is you must make time with yourself a priority. You must. You must. You absolutely 1,000% must. And it might mean that some people are disappointed. It might mean that you have to have some difficult conversations and set some boundaries that are really uncomfortable and maybe don't feel good, but you have to. If you really want to live a deeply fulfilling and soul thriving life, a life that you love living, you must put yourself at the center of your own life, and you must make yourself a priority. There are going to be some things that you need to cancel. There's going to be some things you have to say no to, and there's going to be some people that you're going to have to disappoint in order to make sure that happens. And some of it's going to be that you are going to spend a whole day with yourself, by yourself, that you're going to take yourself to get a massage, that you're going to go on a walk. I had a client who felt the need to report everywhere that she was to her family at all times. And one of the things that we worked on together was like, you know what? Maybe after work, you get to take 30 minutes all to yourself, and it gets to be just for you because you don't owe anybody anything about where you are or what you're doing. And she would just go get herself a $6 Frappuccino and take a walk at the park. And it was one of the most beautiful, enlivening things for her. And she wouldn't even do it every day. She did it like once a week, and it literally just altered her connection with herself, that one small thing once a week. So it doesn't need to be huge, but I encourage you again to take inventory once again in a new way and look at all the things you're saying yes to and all the things that you're giving to, and maybe say no, and then literally put yourself on your own calendar and block out that time and say that you're busy and just do what you want, whatever you want. And if you want to talk about it, I am so here to talk about it with you. So I encourage you to look at the meditation today and the questions and the little action steps and see how can you forge deeper connection with yourself so that you can live a more soul thriving life. Yes, I love it. Okay. Until next time, may you stay with yourself today and always.